Hey guys, welcome to Daily Bible Study. We are into 2 Chronicles 10, 11, and 12 today. And I'm primarily going to look at chapter 12. And the reason we're going to look at that chapter is because we see the chronicler giving us kind of a lengthy description of Rehoboam's reign in Judah. And there are two factors that are very important and that we see in here. Not only do they become a vassal state to the kingdom of Egypt, but what were the reasons why God allowed these things to happen? The first thing we see is that God allowed it to happen because the very first verse in chapter 12 says that they turned away from the law of the Lord, the Torah, right? They turned away from the teachings of God. But in that discourse, we see God saying that they're going to have to go through the judgment. And so we kind of already start to have those things in our minds where we go, okay, this makes sense. Somebody disobeys the Lord, he judges them. But what is the reason why he did it? That's a very important point to determine when we are thinking about how God has dealt with Israel. It always starts with them rejecting him. And so they rejected him. Now, when you make a mistake, like turning your back on the one true God, how you respond to that matters. And so that's the second part to this, right? So if you read the text, it shows that because they humbled themselves and turned from their pride, that the Lord was not going to completely destroy them. They were still going to have to deal with the consequences of their actions, but they were not going to be destroyed because of it. So they became a vassal state, but that was a measure of God's grace in their lives so that they could continue to be restored back to him. That was his ultimate plan. So that's an important question for us to answer today. When you make mistakes, when you step out of the will of God, when you mess up, what does this text remind us of? It teaches us that if you humble yourself and you admit that you made a mistake, you admit that you turned away from the will of God, maybe even miss the will of God. You ever done that before, right? Think God told you something and you realize, no, that wasn't it. What do you do in those moments? Do you humble yourself? And do you come back and ask God to forgive you? And so when the nation of Judah did that, God said, okay, I'm not going to destroy you. See, the whole purpose of why God allowed these things to happen was to show them that they needed to live for him. His desire was to be with them, not to destroy them. God's desire for us is to be with us, not to destroy us. And so if we go through hardships as a result of our rejection of his word and the plan and the pattern that he has set for us, if we humble ourselves and we come before him, his greatest desire is to be in relationship with us. And so don't be prideful today. Don't be prideful, and don't let your pride keep you from being restored today. I hope that encourages you. There is power in humility. There's power in confession. There is power in restoration. Love you guys. We'll take hopefully you continue to be with us today, okay? And the rest of our week in Bible study.